And then he's saying, oh, we have all those military units, that those cities that could be good at producing military units. We need more units because to defend our civilization, because my empire's so big and I don't have that many units. But at the same time, I don't need units all over the place. I really need units close to the Romans. And if you look, that's where all my forces are. They're just pretty much lined up here along my borders, ready to take out those low-tech units of the Romans if they ever decide to attack me. But I don't really need many units. I've got a couple of knights here, which are an old legacy medieval era unit that I'm using to kill barbarians when they pop up. I'm still using my little warrior here to kind of keep this visible so that no barbarians pop out here. But this is my empire is large, but I don't need to defend it to defend all this place here. I really need just to defend this place here. So the advisor is not being overly useful. And then you have the economic advisor, and I love that chick because she gives you very important and very specific info that will help you. So for example, she's telling me that we're making money. Duh, I'm in a golden age again, so I'm making 138 gold per turn. But she is telling me that my largest expense is building maintenance. And that's pretty good because then it lets me know that if I have some way of compensating for that, if I can find some way of reducing my building maintenance cost, I might be able to get a lot more gold. And I know, for example, there's a policy here in the order policy track, socialism, which reduces gold maintenance costs of buildings by 10%. So knowing that I'm spending the most on building maintenance, that there's this policy here, I know to go for it. So she's very useful. She's very interesting. She's telling me, moreover, that there's a source of oil near Orleans that is not, improved right now. And this is good because sometimes you just forget that there are resources, or sometimes it's just hard to see because there's other improvements on top of them when they appear. She's extremely interesting. She doesn't, she's not always super interesting, but she'll always give you some info that will serve you well. So that's the advisor screen. And then there's this little button here, additional information, which can give you a lot of info. You can go see the tech tree here in the same way that you can from clicking the technology here and then clicking open technology tree. You can go have a look at the diplomacy overview screen, which is also very interesting because it kind of describes all the relationships that you have with other people in the world, and at a glance tells you everything that they have. So, for example, the other civ that's left is Rome. Obviously, they have a lower score than I. They have currently 148 gold, and they have 3 gold per turn. So, if I'm looking to deal some luxury resources to another civ to get some gold back, I'll know not to go for Augustus because he's kind of poor. He really doesn't have that much to give, and it is telling me that he has 3 horses in terms of strategic resources, and that he has 7 coal. So I know that he's got access to cavalry units and all that. He doesn't have any iron though, so he couldn't make swordsmen or long swordsmen even if he had the tag. That's good to know. And he does have coal, which is a new strategic resource up here. So that lets me know that he's entered the industrial era, or that he's very close to it, and that he can start building factories in his cities. Although I think he's still, just from looking into buildings, it looks like he may still be stuck in the Renaissance. It's hard to tell. And so from here, obviously, you can also see all the city-states, and you can look at a glance and see what resources they have available close to them. Now, this just denotes that they have resources close to their cities. It doesn't mean that they have improvements on top of them, but it'll let you see very quickly which ones you should try to make buddies with. Singapore has oil. That's very good. You want to be buddies with Singapore. So that's the your relationships tab here. If you go to deal history, you can get a history of what deals you had with other people, and it will even tell you if you have any current deals with anyone, when they were started and when they're set to expire. As you can see, I have no deals currently with the Romans, but yet we have open borders for some reason. It really pisses me off. The last deal I had was this one here, when I actually attacked them, and then they made peace, and they gave me silver, and they gave me gold, and they made peace with my ally, and I didn't have to give them anything. So I was kind of, it was a very successful war for me. And then here, the third tab is the global politics tab, so it will tell you exactly who hates who likes who. So we know right now that Rome is at war with Genoa, which is a city-state down here. But I mean, Genoa is a fairly advanced city-state. It has a great general because it actually had an infantry unit, because city-states, their tech level kind of follows you, so it follows the highest tech player. So I'm the highest tech player, so the city-states kind of follow me, and they are in the modern era. They're using infantry units, and so the Romans attacked with a little spearmen and a little crossbowman, and the one infantry unit that Genoa had kind of destroyed the entire Romans army. It was kind of funny, and they even got a great general. That's hilarious. I didn't even know they could get great people. That is so funny. So yeah, that's the diplomacy overview here. It's very nice. You can even click on people's names to go talk to them.
Cuiduis.
And Augustus, my former ally, is not very pleased with me because, as you can see, I'm very much on top of this game, and he's very much on bottom at this moment. The military overview screen is also very interesting. I showed it briefly in the combat tutorial. You have your Great General meter here, which tells you how soon you're going to get your next Great General. You have the list of units that you have. So you get all your land units first, then you get your air units, your great people, and your non-military units down here. And also there is here something called unit supply. Unit supply is an absolute maximum of units that you can get. Even if you have a lot of gold and you can support a very large army, eventually you will reach a maximum number of units and you cannot go any further. So you get a base supply provided by the difficulty setting. So even if you have no cities or just one city with low population, you can still make quite a few units based on the difficulty setting that you picked. So I'm on Warlord, it's fairly forgiving. You then get more supply based on the number of cities you have and more supply based on the number of citizens you have on your population. So in total, I could make 147 units. I have 27 because I don't need 147 units. That would bankrupt me making that many units, but at least I have the possibility. If I had 147 units, I could literally not make any more units even if I had the goal to support them. That's the absolute cap of that I have right now. But of course, if I get more citizens, or if I make more cities, this cap will continue to go up. And so it's telling me that right now I still have room for 120 more units, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So that's the military overview, very interesting. Economic overview, excellent screen. Like the economic advisor, this is a very useful screen because you get your entire empire at a glance with a lot of info. Here on the left you get kind of the breakdown of your gold. So it's telling you that I have close to 2,000 gold in my treasury, which I already knew. I am getting 138 gold, 0.91, but 138 gold per turn. That's my net profit. And in terms of gross profit, I'm making 556, but I'm spending in terms of total expenses for 118 gold. So the profit is the difference between those two. And so it's telling me right now in the income tab, I'm making 313 gold from my cities, so from the tiles that my citizens are working. I have no agreements right now that are giving me gold. I'm making 243 from trade routes, and you can even see, if you click on trade details here, how much each trade route is giving me. And so right now the big one's with Satsuma, because Satsuma is the largest city in my empire. I think it's the one with yeah, there we go, 18 population. It's the largest one in my empire. It's even larger than Kyoto because it's got a lot of floodplains and farms around it, so it's growing quickly. So that's the largest trade route. And as you can see, I mean, 313 just from the cities, 243 from trade routes. Trade routes are extremely important. They nearly double the income that you get that you would get just from cities. So that's very, very important to have trade routes. And then it's obviously breaking down the expenses that I have in the same way. So 102 from units, 262 from buildings, 54 from tile improvements, which are basically just roads and railroads, which I'll get into very quickly. And then here on this side, you have the list of all your cities, what combat strength they have, their population, how soon until they grow, how much bonus food they have, how much science they generate, how much gold they make, how much culture they make, 34 from Kyoto. That's a lot compared to the other ones. And then how much hammers they get per turn, and what building or unit they're making, and then how many turns they'll be complete. So this is a very, very nice screen to see kind of how everyone's doing. See if you want to see which one of your cities is generating the most research, because you have a wonder or you want to build a building to kind of further that research, you'll know right away which one's the top one, and so in which building, in which city to build your science building, for example. It's also telling me that I have, which cities are annexed right now. So very good screen, very interesting if you want to have more info. Then there's a victory progress screen, which has a score and kind of keeps track of everyone's victory conditions. I'm going to come back to this in a bit. Then you have the demographics, which is kind of a ranking system that lets you know how well you're doing in different areas. Right now I'm doing very well in most of them. I'm actually behind the Romans in approval rating because my happiness is not that high. If I had a little more happiness, I'd have a higher approval rating, but that's not very, important. In terms, the important one I want is here, the soldiers. I have a lot more soldiers than he has. I have nearly three times, actually no, over three times the number of soldiers that he has. I have a land area that's 4 times as big as he has. I have 5 to 6 times his GNP. So yeah, I'm in a good spot compared to him. And then you have a notification log here, which tells you each turn what type of notification you got. You cannot, if you click on them though, that's the problem. You cannot go back to whatever event they were denoting, which is kind of okay because after all, the events probably gone by and disappeared by now. Oh well. So that's the info screens. And now I want to talk about something that's a little more interesting than just screens full of numbers. I want to start talking about wonders. If you've played the game at all, you've seen it when you select a city and you want to build something. Sometimes, if you look at the bottom here, there is a section called wonders. Wonders are big buildings or important landmarks that have a wonderful effect on your empire. They have very unique and very special consequences when you build them. On the downside, though, they are very expensive to make. So if you look here, the Pentagon, which reduces the gold cost of upgrading military units by 50%, that's excellent. It costs 1,200 hammers to make. If you compare it to a stock exchange here, which is a normal building, the stock exchange costs half, 650 hammers roughly. So making wonders is very, very time-consuming. It's hammer-consuming, I should say. But then if you do get those wonders out, you get a huge advantage. And wonders do other things. So they have those special effects. They give you bonus cultures. Usually it's just 1 culture per new wonder, although there are some that give you a lot more. I think... yeah, there we go. The Kremlin gives me 4 culture if I build it instead of just 1. They also give you great people points. And I'm going to talk about great people right after this, so I'll come back to this in a bit. Just remember that they give you different types of great people points. So this, for example, the Pentagon gives you great merchant points. The Eiffel Tower gives you great merchants also. Statue gives you great engineer points. And those great people points are how great people spawn eventually. There are 3 types of wonders in the game. There are national wonders. National wonders, you can only build 1 per civilization, but every civilization can have 1. So every civilization can have an Oxford University, for example, and national wonders tend to be cheaper to make. So you see that the Oxford University is only 420 hammers. That's relatively cheap. It's very quick, but then again, everyone can make one, so they're not unique. It does give you, culture, and national wonders do have some interesting side effects. I talked in the combat tutorial about the, let's see, I have one here, the heroic epic. Where is it? I have completely, there we go, heroic epic here. So very cheap, 270 hammers. That's kind of easy to make at the time. But it gives, the plus 15% combat strength to any units made here. So very cheap, very quick to make, but can have still very powerful effects. So you should make sure that you build those when they become available. And that's the thing with the National Wonders, is that they have some requirements. So for example, the Oxford University requires that you have a university in all the cities that you control in your empire. Now, it does not include puppets. So don't worry about it if you have a lot of puppets. These do not count for National Wonders requirements, so you don't have to worry about them. The second type of wonder is a world wonder. So world wonders are even more, they're even rarer than national wonders because only 1 can be in the game at a time. So only 1 civilization can finish the Kremlin, for example. Only 1 can finish the Louvre. Only 1 can finish the Statue of Liberty, and so on and so forth. So they're even more difficult to make than the national wonders. Obviously, it takes a long time to make, but they have extremely powerful effects. For example, the Statue of Liberty here gives me +1 production from specialists in every city, and so specialists are kind of people who don't work a tile, instead they work in a building in the city. And so having +1 production from those when you have 8 specialists, 10 specialists in a city is very, very good.